Happy Monday. Good evening. Welcome to At Lafayette Live here for Monday, July 21st, 2025. Thanks so much, guys, for joining us here on a Monday evening. It's always such an honor to have people here to start off your week with us. We do most weeks. We're off last week, but it's the summer, so out doing things with family, taking vacations, traveling a little bit. But I'm so glad that you're here with us tonight. How's your July going? It's a little cooler this week than it has been. I mean, and all things being relative, cooler not being surface of the sun, 100% humidity, 95, 100 degrees. We'll take, high 80s as a high during the day, but actually getting down into the high 60s, mid 60s overnight is pretty comfortable. That's pretty nice for us here. If you're here in the Greater Lafayette area, you know what I'm talking about. But maybe you're watching from somewhere else, and if you are, let us know in the chat where you're watching from. It's always fun to find out where it is that people are watching from. And we have some regular viewers, of course, here in the Greater Lafayette area and spread across Indiana. Got some people in Chicago. But when we talk about great weather, we got some occasional California viewers that watch us and looking from the stats and then hearing from people. I know that we got some folks out in San Diego, and I know it's absolutely beautiful out there pretty much 24/7, 365 days a year. Okay, well, maybe 363 days out of the year out there. You got to account for a couple days of bad weather. So drop it in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. We got quite a lot to talk about tonight. Talk all the time about the Greater Lafayette area, and when we talk about Greater Lafayette, we kind of have to define our terms, what it is that we're talking about, because we don't have the perfect language to talk about it, really. But Greater Lafayette really kind of refers, in my mind, to Lafayette and West Lafayette, of course, but the surrounding area in Tippecanoe County, and then really the surrounding counties around Tippecanoe County, White County and Carroll County, Benton County, Fountain County. All the counties that kind of touch us are the Greater Lafayette area. We have quite a few people that, will live out in the Monticello area, but then will commute into one of these new high-tech jobs in the Lafayette area or perhaps at Purdue University. The inverse of that is true as well. I know quite a few people who actually do that inverse commute. They might live here in the Lafayette area, but commute outwards towards Brookston or Delphi or somewhere further out for work. So it's really kind of an interesting dichotomy to hear about the various ways that people choose to set up their lives out here. But it is the Greater Lafayette area, and we talk about Lafayette specifically and lump West Lafayette into that. I talk a whole lot about the fact that in so many ways, Lafayette is a small city. And administratively, by law, Indiana defines cities and towns as certain size of residents, and it defines whether you're going to have a town council or a board or a mayor and that sort of thing. So, like legally, administratively, no doubt that it's a city, and there is no doubt that it's a growing and thriving city. But also, in so many ways, it can sometimes be a very large town as well. Yeah, mostly in good ways, sometimes in the bad ways, but in the good ways, everybody knows everybody. It's a stereotype. Not everybody knows everybody, of course, but it's easy to know lots of people in town, and it's also easy to watch out for each other. Now, of course, the negative comes along with that sometimes as well, but I bring all that up to say that it is a dynamic and diverse area that has the features of both. And while there are periods of time where it might be a little sleepy and a little quiet around here, and it's, what are we going to talk about this week? That is really the exception to the rule. Most of the time, it's, oh my goodness, there is so much going on. There is so much development. There is so much new. There are so many activities to talk about. And tonight is one of those nights. And I tell you what, after a few years, it's been a little more than a year of doing this show. We're solidly into year 2 now. It is more common than not that we are absolutely jam-packed with interesting things to talk about that you guys are going to care about, that directly influence our city and our community. So now that we're all here and all watching, let's jump in and talk about all of this. But while we do that, go ahead, if you're here and if you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe button. make sure that you don't miss a minute of all of the videos that we produce here on the Lafayette Reel and every Monday with at Lafayette Live at 7 o'clock on Mondays. This is a pretty major one. The Area Plan Commission has approved sorry, I was having a little trouble getting the software set up to view this stuff. Oh, and now the spinning beach ball of death. Yes, I'm using a Mac. Came up on me. Let me get this set up so we can actually see what it is that I'm talking about. The Area Plan Commission in Tippecanoe County, which is the policy board that maintains our area plan. I mean, it's in the name, in the zoning requirements and what's going where in the community, and making sure that, you know, industrial isn't plopping down in the middle of residential and that sort of thing. They approved at their meeting last week the initial subdivision for the Millbrook development that is going in, excuse me, they approved the Millbrook preliminary subdivision, which is the big development of homes that is going in just north of West Lafayette, kind of along 50 West, which in town is Salisbury, and on the east and on the west, all the way out to and actually past Yeager, and on the north, kind of bounded by 500 on the north. This eventual development of Millbrook is going to include somewhere along the lines of 1,000 homes and a mixture of development of townhome, multifamily, and various size lots. But in this preliminary approval, they have sought approval for just about 400, I think it is. But let's take a look at the map. I think I have this properly set up. See how this goes. Look at it one other way. See if this version's any better. Yeah, that works better. So this is the map, and you can see the entire development here stretching from Salisbury 50 West over here on the east, going all the way out past Yeager, out to Morehouse out here on the west. That's the entire, all of this shaded area through here is kind of the development that they're looking at. All these yellow boxes, these shaded boxes, all of that is what the eventual development is going to be. But what they sought approval for this last week was the area inside this dark black area. And that is 3 areas that they sought and got approval for. It was a unanimous approval from the Area Plan Commission. It will now go to, I think this is going to West Lafayette. I think this is still within their municipal city limits. It's either West Lafayette or it's the Tippecanoe County Commissioners that would have approval, but I'm pretty sure it's West Lafayette that will approve this. They are doing phases 1A, 1B, 2A, and 2B, and here's the plat map of what that actually is going to look like. Again, you'll see 500 north up here to the top. Here's 50 West over here to the right, and Yeager. So this is the central area. So they're kind of doing 3 neighborhoods, 3 subdivisions, if you will. And this one doesn't have the zoning on it. Let me scroll down and see, because it's R1T, R1B, and R3. Okay, so R1T is townhouse. So here's our map again. R1T is going to be down in this area. These are going to be townhouses. And then the R1B and C, what R1 is residential. R means residential. 1 is top of the pile, single family. and then the letters after it have designations that dictate things like the T is townhouse. That one's pretty self-explanatory. But the A's, the B's, and the C's, what that has to do with is the zoning regulations in the code and dictates the lot size. And we'll actually see here that the southeast corner of the development is, I believe, R1C. I think I've got that correct. Slightly smaller lot sizes. You can just kind of tell relatively the lot size of these rectangles versus the R1B up here in this northern area. So they're starting with approval for what I would say is the slightly more mainline part of the neighborhood. There's been some pushback in the community about the fact that some of these homes are starting at $500,000 plus, and people are like, oh my goodness, it's a premium product, and they're really trying to price people on. That's the market they're going after. But yes, but it's business, and I would posit that they're really not. I would posit that what they're really doing is hitting the market price. The median price in Tippecanoe County over the entire county is just a little north of $300,000, and that's the median of everything. So that includes, every little national home that's been fixed and flipped quickly. That's every national home that's been done nicely. That's every national home that's an absolute wreck. So, that includes all the cheap houses. It, of course, does include all the expensive houses, but $500,000 as a starting point, while it sounds like a lot, and I'm not debating that, like in pure dollars, it is a lot of dollars, is really not out of line with the market here in Tippecanoe County and West Lafayette specifically, in the northern end of Tippecanoe County. But they're going to, my interpretation of this and the fact they're starting with these smaller lots is that, one, they can build more of them faster, and two, they can get, more people moving in faster, and then they'll move out and do the larger homes on the larger lots. And we can actually see the breakdowns here. So phase 1A, there's going to be 48 lots of townhomes. I'm not sure if that's actually 48 townhomes or 48 lots. And then in the larger lots, in the 77-foot wide lots, there'll be 26. And then of the 62-foot wide lots, there'll be 37. And then that's all the townhouses in phase 1A. Let's see, what else do we need to look at for this? That's section 1. I'm just scrolling through. I got a bunch of maps here, and I'll show them to you if they're interesting and give us any information we haven't talked about already. I was looking through them, before. They haven't set a timeline on exactly when all of this is going to happen. They haven't told us when they're going to put a shovel in the dirt precisely, but this is coming sooner rather than later. I think that we'll see grading happening now-ish very, very soon. If you drive up Salisbury, you'll see the grading has started for the new county road that's going in just a little south of here. There's some archaeological work going on for the S.K. Hynix site. I don't think it's going to take them long to get a shovel in the dirt. And I'm completely spitballing here. I would not be surprised to see our first model home online late next year, late 2026, late summer, maybe into the fall. It could get into 2027. This is a large area. There is a lot of grading to be done. They have all the road work and all the utilities to lay in. So I could be optimistic on that timeline. So you can't hold me to that, but I have a feeling they're going to want to get this product online quickly, and they'll go, they'll throw as much labor at it as they possibly can to make this happen, because until they're selling houses, they're not making money. They're just spending money. So I have a feeling that something like this, where it's 400 or 500 homes to start, and it's going to be 1,000 homes total when the entire thing is done in 10 years, they're going to turn that inventory on as quickly as possible. But that was unanimous approval, as actually many, many things. I might even venture to say most things that come through Area Plan Commission do get unanimous approval. Certainly by no means 100%. And part of that is the process. These developers, and it's whether the developer is an individual like myself who might want to put a shed on my property and need to get a setback or something for the shed adjusted, or if it's these large corporations that are doing 1,000 houses, they're working with staff at Area Plan Commission, so they're not coming to the commission for a vote blind. The staff have their hands on this. As a matter of fact, it is the staff that present it to the commission before before the claimant gets to speak. So this isn't blind. This isn't, something that they don't know that is coming. Now, that being said, there are controversial ones that do wind up with split decisions or no's, or people that, came to the commission over the advice of staff who thought, the council would, it's your prerogative as a citizen to do that. But that is by far and away most people who are going through this process are working through the process. And so this is not a rubber stamp, but this is like a final check, and to make sure that the people who elect, our elected officials, because the Area Plan Commission has officials from Tippecanoe County and Lafayette and West Lafayette and other municipalities here in Tippecanoe County. That is the constituent members of the board, so they're directly speaking, for the people. They say yes or no to these sorts of things. And we desperately, desperately need more housing in Tippecanoe County. And we'll get into a lot more numbers as we talk through some more of our news going on here in the Greater Lafayette area throughout the evening. But that is the new Millbrook subdivision coming to West Lafayette, and they have major preliminary approval for their first section. And I think that we'll have shovels in the dirt soon-ish. So stay tuned, hit the like and subscribe button so that you can find out when that project is moving forward. Everybody doing okay? Glance over here at the stats and the chat. Sometimes I can keep up with the chat and sometimes I can't. This is one of those nights where I just can't. So if you had a question and I didn't get to you or I missed you, don't worry. I'll go back through the transcripts later on and I'll get to any specific questions that you have or point you in the right direction if I don't have the answers. Moving on next, Lafayette has had something called the Main Street Dora. And it is a area that is DORA stands for Designated Outdoor Refreshment Area. Basically, it is a state law that allows you to have open containers in specific designated areas. And it is to help create vibrancy, to create a scene, to have, some life in a neighborhood or a festival ground or whatever that might be. And we've had one in downtown for I believe it's a couple of years now, but there's a expansion of it that just came online on Friday, so just 3 days ago. So there are approximately 15 establishments in the expanded DORA that you can now visit, where you can grab a beverage and then wander up and down Main Street and see our vibrant Main Street in downtown Lafayette. And let's actually have a look at that. Here we go. I like that one better. So we can't quite see all of it, but over here on the west, this is Really Plaza. And you can see the yellow lines are what encompass the DORA. So it encompasses First Street and Really Plaza, goes all the way down Main Street, includes the Courthouse Square area, because of course it does, all the festivals around the Courthouse Square, on down Main Street, picks up the little streets and alleys here and there, all the way down to, that is 13th Street down here at the end. There are signs at the entrances and exits of all the doors basically saying, don't take your beer out of here or we might arrest you. And I don't think the Lafayette City Police are going to be like, oh my goodness, you stepped a foot over. It's the, they're going to take care of us. But 15 places on this list, some of which I frequent and enjoy and some of which I don't, just because there are so many and there's only so many days in the year that I can actually get out to go enjoy and in the downtown area, much less the rest of our community. But starting from roughly west to east, you got Ritual down here, Red 7, of course, Capo, the old standby of the Black Sparrow, great Italian restaurant, La Scala. You can pick up some drinks from Digby's, another standby in classic Lafayette venue, the Knickerbocker Saloon. A great one up here, number 8, the Lobby by Grey House. I think that's really, really cool. Number 9, about to the middle of the map now, the Lafayette Brew Co. So you can get your Lafayette-made local beers and wander up and down Main Street with it. Right next door, you got DT Kirby's. Across the street, you got Bert's Place. Diagonal from them, if you enjoy your bourbon, you can go get some bourbon from 648 Bourbon and Cigar Lounge. Moving on down to the far east side of the map, you've got the Cellar Wine Bistro. So if you've got a taste for some wine from around the world, that's your go-to place for that. And then two places that are really great and right across from each other, and in some ways couldn't be more different, but in so many ways couldn't be more similar in that they're both great. You have East End Grill on the north side of Main Street, and Ripple & Co., one of my favorite places in town, on the south side of Main Street. So if you're looking on a Friday or Saturday night, I mean really any night, but a Friday or Saturday night to go, grab a drink and wander and enjoy the scene downtown, you can do that with our expanded Dora in downtown Lafayette. All right, continuing on. Sometimes we go really in depth and it takes a while. And that's one of those nights. Sometimes the news stories, you blaze through them, and other nights it's like, wow, it's 7:21 already. I'm approaching the halfway mark. There are times that I shoot for an hour. There are times that it goes a little longer. There are times that it goes a little bit shorter. But next up, get my notes so I can see them. This one is controversial. So many of the ones that we talk about are controversial. And when I say controversial, I really kind of usually mean like social media controversial. And is that really controversial or not? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. But West Lafayette rolled out new metered parking starting this last summer, and Phase 2 is coming online here in the end of the month. Phase 1 was centered around the levee area, and a lot of the pushback on that was now I have to pay to visit these businesses, and I understand that pushback in the summer and just in general. But Phase 2 is going to be the part that has typically been called the island, and this is the part that's kind of between the academic campus of Purdue University and the residential area of Purdue University. 1st Street, 4th Street, 5th, 6th, Russell, and Waldron, and that is coming online. The Discovery Park District was in Phase 1. Haven't heard nearly as much about that. That's a little more of a professional laboratory office kind of area, so that kind of doesn't surprise me. But people have been up in arms about, I have to pay to park at the levee right now, and there's lots of debate and things like you can go in the parking garage, you can do this, you can do that. It's less than a dollar. It is the cost is supposed to be, and this is according to West Lafayette City Ordinance, no less than $1 an hour and no more than $3 an hour. And it's done through a service called Park Mobile, and this is one of those, you drive up, you see the sign, you scan it, and you use the app on your phone. And that's it's not old school parking meters like when we grew up. When I grew up, I won't speak for you. But so this new phase is coming online, and let me download that map. Here it comes. Excellent. Let me getting this set up just right is a little tricky sometimes with some of these images. Here it is. So this is Phase 2 that's coming online right now, and you can see here's the academic campus of Purdue University. If you're not familiar, this is Elliott Hall of Music right here. You can tell by this little curve on the edge. Here's Neil Armstrong Hall of Engineering. So this is Stadium Avenue. This is University. So it's this area in here. And the reason that West Lafayette is doing this and doing this in this area, and the reason that they did it in Area 1, which is along Wabash Landing, here's area number 1, and that's been going on since the beginning of the summer. And then what I might call 1A, this area right here in the Discovery Park District. They're doing it for exactly the reasons that you think they're doing it. It is to encourage people to not park all day long when they're going to class. If they're going to commute in and then park at a store and then hike up the hill, or park in front of one of the residences there in the island and then go to class all day long. It's going to help avoid that. I agree 100%. It's a pain in the butt at Wabash Landing, and I think that you're going to have to figure out exactly how that's going to work long term because you want that foot traffic to the local businesses there. I'm not arguing that that's not something that needs to be figured out, but, um, you know, got to do something. And that something should be hit the like and subscribe button so that you're here every week and get notifications about all of the great videos that we put up on the Lafayette Reel almost every day of the week. I close my notes. All right, here we go. Moving on. More development news. Meijer has plans for a third superstore here in the Greater Lafayette area. So Meijer has been here. They are a store that is kind of similar to Walmart, Target, that sort of thing. You know, big retail and grocery all in one. They are a Michigan-based company. They are largely in the Midwest. I know they've expanded a lot over the last few years, so I'm not sure what their overall regional limits are these days. I don't think they're quite nationwide. I could be wrong on that. But here in Lafayette, they've been on the east side forever and ever and ever, dating back to at least the mid to late 90s. They came to West Lafayette on 52 about a little less than a decade ago, around a decade ago. But now they have filed plans and gotten preliminary approval from the Area Plan Commission for a third location down on the south side of Lafayette. And if you've been around Lafayette at all, you know how much the south side, Veterans Memorial Parkway, what used to be called 350 South, is essentially a new additional commercial retail dining hub of Lafayette. You know, we have downtown. You have downtown, you kind of have the 26 corridor, and now you've got the south side. And they're almost little villages unto themselves. This is going to be on the southeast corner of the intersection of Concord and Veterans Memorial. It's going to be directly east of the Walmart on the south side. As a matter of fact, the stoplight there on Concord that is lets you in and out of Walmart, that's where the entry is going to be for this new Meijer. We don't have a time frame of when exactly this is going to happen, but it's gonna happen soon. They're not going to area plan with these plans based on a, hey, we might think we're going to do this in 10 years sort of thing. Whether they break ground next month or, you know, next summer, that's kind of the scale that we're talking about of exactly when this will happen. But it's going to be soon. And they'll, of course, have the major retail center. They'll have the obligatory Meijer gas station, and then there are going to be a handful of outlots available for other retailers, and we'll see what comes to those. So, brand new Meijer coming to the south side of Lafayette. Got opinions on that? I mean, I think that really, really speaks to how much demand there is on the south side of Lafayette. And I think what's going to happen is that we're going to see a new centering even further south of that. I don't think that that corridor is quite completely built out, but it is closer to built out than not. I think there's going to be a new establishment of a commercial hub somewhere between Veterans Memorial Parkway and where 52 meets 65, just north of Lebanon. I'm not exactly sure like where, you know, I'm not saying that like Stockwell's going to turn into our next major hub. You know, I don't know if, you know, if it's going to be at 700 South. I don't know. And it could be 10 years from now. It could be 20 years from now. But I think that all the data kind of points to that the kind of the combination of what we're seeing on the south side of Lafayette and what we see on the far, far north side of what is real essentially Indianapolis now with Lebanon, and all of that development is eventually going to like grow into one. And in 50 and 100 years, it'll just be the, you know, megalopolis stretching the entire way. I'll be long gone, but you know. Moving on, this one is a little community public service announcement. If you're watching here in the area, and you have kids that you need to get registered for school, do it now. First off, do it now. But what you need to know, um, for two of the major school corporations, the Tippecanoe School Corporation, which is basically all public school students except for those that are in the town limits, municipal limits of West Lafayette and Lafayette. And that's not exactly the case, because as the cities have grown over the years, sometimes the school corporation limits, like down in the southeast corner of Lafayette, and certainly over on like the west of Lafayette, don't quite exactly line up, but generally use that generally. You would be at Tippecanoe School Corporation, or TSC. And if you have not registered yet, you have to register every year. So if you're a returning family, you need to go to the Power School parent portal, log in, and get registered for the new year. If you have not registered yet and you are a new family to TSC, we are today's the deadline. You need to contact your child's school directly. And if you've got questions about which school that you're in, you can call the centralized registration line at 765-772-1628, and they'll get you that answer. The first day of school for TSC is 22 days away. It's 3 weeks away, Tuesday, August 12th. Lafayette School Corporation, their registration opened about 11 days ago, back on July 10th. If you are new to the Lafayette School Corporation, you need to go visit the school for enrollment. If you are a returning family, you can go to your school's online portal to update your student information, and that is lsc.k12.in.us, and click the registration tab. On-site registration for Oakland Elementary is 9 a.m. Oh, sorry, those dates are past. So there you go. Give the schools a call and get your kids registered, and hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss anything here on the Lafayette Reel and at Lafayette Live every Monday at 7 o'clock. Big one that we missed when we were off last week. We talked, I think the week before the show before that, about a new emergency room coming to West Lafayette from Franciscan. Well, IU Health has decided to one-up Franciscan, and they are bringing a $214 million hospital to West Lafayette. They have made the announcement. They have put out some concept images, but they have not said exactly where it's going to be. We know that they have said that they expect designs to be done this year, to start construction next year, and to see their first patients in mid-2028. So we got about 3 years to go before this actually opens. So this is good news. I know there's been a lot of concern from those who live on the west side, and even like further out to the west of the west side, that, you know, our two major hospitals, Franciscan St. Elizabeth and IU Health Arnett, way over on the west side, or way over on the east side rather. I mean, you can see IU from the interstate, and you know the drive time is just long, and there's no doubt about that. So having a hospital closer, and we're going to have an emergency room closer, is good news. They have not said exactly where they're going to put it. I could do a little bit of speculation. You know, it might be somewhere along the new 231 corridor. It might be a little towards the south side of, like, you know, like where the airport is. It could be a little more centralized. It could be somewhere completely unexpected. They have not said where that's going to be yet, but I have a feeling that we're going to hear an area plan in the next month or two. I mean, if they're getting these designs done this year, then they're going to have to get, and they're going to break some ground next year. They're going to have to get before area plan pretty soon. Here's a rendering of what they say it's going to look like. Let's have a look here. So this is their concept of what they think it's going to look like. So it's big, but it's more like small city, like small town big. You know, like Crawfordsville, Monticello, that size. So it's not, you know, is going to be as big as the Lafayette campus is. So take that for what it's worth. It's coming. I think it will be interesting to see. Is there going to be an arms war now? I'm not saying that this was directly in response to Franciscan. I'm not saying it isn't either. But there's a certain amount of, okay, Franciscan announced the standalone emergency room. IU announced a standalone hospital with an emergency room. I would not be surprised if by the time Franciscan breaks ground on the standalone emergency room, like, you know what? Let's do some inpatient. I maybe not. I think it's a possibility. I think we could wind up with two small hospitals on the west side, which is two more than we have now. And you know what else we have now? We have you using your finger to hit. Nah, you get rid of that. You're using your finger to hit the like and subscribe button. And I should also say that, like, if you're thinking about moving here and, having a hospital close by on the west side, or having a Meijer on the south side, or being concerned about where you can go party downtown, or where you can have a metered parking where you can park. If those are things that you're thinking about, and where you're going to live when you move here, or you're here and you already want to move, those are the questions I can help you answer. And if those are things that you'd like to work together on, go to the LafayetteReal.com/YouTube and let me know what you're thinking about these things, what questions I can answer for you, and how we can get your search going for just the right home that's going to include maybe some of these new developments that are coming to the area. Moving on. This is in the category of there's a dark side and a light side to every Schwartz. The West Lafayette, the Purdue Airport returned commercial service for the first time last year with a company called Southern Airways, who ran multiple airlines out of a turboprop each day from here to O'Hare. Purdue announced with SkyWest, who is a feeder for American. No, it's not American. No, it is American. I'm sorry. For American Airlines, they are bringing CRJ regional jet service to the Purdue Airport. That's going to run that same route, Purdue to O'Hare. It's going to do it in a slightly faster time, but not that much faster, because the distance is just not that great, and whether you're flying turboprop or jet. I'm not exactly sure what the price comparison is going to be, and I should dig into that. But they announced that earlier this year, and we hadn't heard much else beyond that and what was going to happen. Well, what I thought was going to happen is what happened. Southern Airways is ending their service from Purdue to O'Hare. August 5th will be the last date, and that is the date that SkyWest is coming online. And it's also the date that Purdue is dedicating their new Amelia Earhart passenger terminal to help support this service. This is not a shocker, I think, to anybody. I mean, Purdue put up $5 million of backing to get the service here to help guarantee revenue. I think it was always a little bit iffy about how much, if passenger service can't even be supported here. I don't think the verdict is in on that by any means. I think that this small, basically commuter company did their thing, and now a regional operator is going to try their thing with a jet and see how they do. SkyWest is flying one round trip a day. I'm not sure what the time frame is yet. I'm not sure if we even know. I guess bookings might be open, and I'll dig into that. But it's going to mean that you only have one time to be there. You have to do all of your other planning around that. And going to O'Hare is fantastic. I mean, O'Hare is one of the major international hubs for America. I don't mean American Airlines, I mean for the nation. So there are a lot of connections to be made there. But when you just have that one time, if you have to get there the night before and get a hotel at O'Hare, then that really kind of maybe negates the hassle of driving and parking and whatnot. I am not certain with the cost of jet fuel that this is going to be a successful venture. I hope it is from a community development standpoint. I want people to come here because they have access to air travel, that they think that it makes sense for them from a business standpoint. I'm not quite sure that these make sense from like personal vacation standpoints. That I want this to succeed, but will it succeed long term? I don't know. Southern Airways did not want to compete with a jet operator, and I think that a jet operator, I don't know. We'll find out starting August 5th. We'll revisit this and see how it goes over the next months and years. So there you go. Air news from the Greater Lafayette area. Last bit of news. Before we hit that last bit of news, go to thelafayettereal.com/YouTube and fill out the form and tell me how we can help you with home here in the Greater Lafayette area. I have one more bit. Let me pull it up so I can make sure I get this right. Won't spend too much time talking about this. This is a pretty brief one. We've touched on it. We've touched on SK Hynix. We have talked till we're blue in the face about SK Hynix, and we'll be talking about SK Hynix for the foreseeable future, for probably the next several years. But there were 2 citizen lawsuits against SK Hynix and the Purdue Research Foundation and Area Plan Commission, and official documents have been filed and approved to merge those 2 cases into one case, because the judges said, these likely will have similar outcomes and similar results if either or both of them go forward. So they have been merged into one lawsuit. There is no hearing date set yet. There is no response from the defendants yet, from PRF, SK Hynix, or Area Plan. What's going to happen? We're not going to litigate that right now. We'll leave that to the court. We'll talk more. We've talked about that. Go back and check out all the videos about SK Hynix that we've done already. And if you want to see what those are, go and hit the like and subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button, and then go check out our playlist of stuff about SK Hynix that's going on here. So tonight we're going to do some home tours that are in the West Lafayette School Corporation. Some of these are very, very close to the West Lafayette high school and middle school. Some of these are stretching it, but they're all in the corporation, which also means that they're not terribly far from Purdue University. West Lafayette High School, junior, senior high school are just like 2-3 blocks up the road from Mackey Arena and Ross-Ade Stadium. It is really, really close. So there's a lot of people that want to be in the West Lafayette School Corporation because they're kids. There's a lot of people that wind up in the West Lafayette School Corporation because they work for Purdue and are affiliated of Purdue, or somebody down in the Discovery Park or research parks. So makes a lot of sense as to why people want to be in the West Lafayette School Corporation. And we're going to look at 3 homes that are currently, we're going to look at some homes that are currently for sale. But I also want to talk a little bit about some data behind that. Before we dive in, I looked, before we went on the air, is this on the air? Before we went online today, there are currently 30 homes for sale in the West Lafayette School Corporation. And I mean homes for sale. I don't mean homes that have an accepted offer and they might take your backup offer in case something falls through. I mean, like, these don't have offers. They need buyers. There are 30. Over the last 12 months, 145 total have sold. That's only 12 per month on average. I didn't pull the number that were listed on average per month, but those numbers are going to be related to each other. In the 12 months previous to that, the number was similar, 159 sold. Over the last 12 months, so going back to July of 24, the median days on market, and that's the The middle number of how long it takes for a house to sell was 8 days in the West Lafayette School Corporation over the last 12 months. And then the median sold price was 385.5, and the year previous to that it was 383.2. So it went up about 2250 over a year period. So the median price was 385, but the number that have been available for sale at any given time over that last year and last 2 years has been anemic compared to the 30 that are for sale right now. And why are there 30 for sale right now? There are a lot of reasons behind why that is that we can postulate. There is just the general economy. There are always people coming and going from a community, and in the summer, when is sometimes a logical time from a moving school standpoint. But as we were talking about earlier, school's starting soon, so it's getting a little late for some of these. Some of this is property managers, property owners, investors unloading some, but not 100% by any means. Some of it is the larger economy and politics and things that are going on in the world. Some of it is, moving up. There are a number of things that are playing into this. Interest rates, of course, but they've been holding steady for about a year now. But it is the largest inventory that we have seen in the West Lafayette School Corporation in a while, and you've got some choices. So, like I said, the median price has been 385. So basically, anything less than 385 is going to be a deal, and anything from like 385 to call it about 100,000 over that to 485 is going to be like a solid middle of the range price. But let's start with 1611 North Grant Street in West Lafayette. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,744 square feet. And we'll look at the map to start with to place this. And this is what I was talking about when I was making the intro, that here's the house. Here's Grant Street. Okay? I'm just going to move this map down a little bit. This is West Lafayette Junior Senior High School. So this house is walkable, bikeable to the school. But check this out. I'm going to scroll down just a little bit more and zoom out one level. Purdue University, right down here. So you can bike to Purdue University from this address. This is kind of getting to the limit of what is walkable to Purdue. You could do it if you're a serious walker runner. But it's definitely bikeable, and distance to West Lafayette Junior Senior High School is next to nothing. It's right here. And West Lafayette Intermediate School is right up here. So it's really, really close to 3 of the 4 schools. It's not super close to the elementary school, of course. But let's take a look. Again, this is 1611 North Grant Street here in West Lafayette. It is 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,744 square feet. It is on a major corner. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. I mean, that's the corner lot on Grant Street, which is a major through street. But, fairly simple white house. And here we go. We can see the corner of Grant and Salisbury. Those are 2 main streets, which dictates some of what you'll see as the price on this home. Got a bunch of photos not available right now. Sorry, my software's been messing up. So we're gonna call an end to that tour. Let's go back to the first picture, just as we finish up our chat about this. I'm gonna finish this one up. So we can't look at the pictures right now. $379.9 is the current listing price. That is about $6,000 under the median. So it is less than the average in West Lafayette. And again, more homes for sale in the West Lafayette School Corporation than there have been for quite a while. So there is a deal to be had if you want to be close to the schools. I'm going to pull up the next one and check it and see. This has been such a random problem. All right, this one seems to be working. Get set up here. So this one is a little more premium product, if you will. Definitely above that median price that we've been talking about, and I'll drop the price on you at the end, so stay tuned. But this is 1809 North Salisbury, and let's place this one on the map. Here's the home. Here's Salisbury. Here's Grant Street. So really, really close to the intermediate school right here. And then not too far from the senior high school. Really 1, 2, call it 3.5 blocks. And you can take Ravinia down here to get to the school and not have to go out on Salisbury or Grant. So very walkable, very bikeable to the schools. And if we zoom out just a little bit more, we'll see Purdue University down in this area. So if you're a biker, easily bikeable to Purdue University. If you're a serious walker, it's walkable to Purdue University, but we're definitely on the edge of pushing it to Purdue, but very, very close to the West Lafayette schools, to the junior, senior high school, and to the intermediate schools. So this is 1809 North Salisbury in West Lafayette. 5 bedrooms, 5 baths, 3,981 square feet. And when we start outside, we'll see that 3-bay garage to start with. So plenty of room for parking. So if you've got a teenager that's got their car, they can garage it. You can have a nice workshop. You got the nice oak door entryway. No mud room per se. There's probably a mud room. I believe there's a mud room in the garage. You got your front dining room with the tray ceilings. You can see, looking out the window, there's the intermediate school. So if you have an intermediate school student, you cannot possibly be closer. They can wake up at the last minute if they're anything like me and walk across to school. You got the living room with TV too high, why oh why oh why, gas fireplace. I know some of y'all are not fans of the gas fireplaces, but that's what it's got, and you can kind of see some of the backyard out there. Carpet in the home. This home was built in 2015, so it's only about 10 years old. You got the eat-in kitchen with the massive island there that you can actually get some chairs under. In some way, you lose some storage space by doing that, but in some ways, you pick up space and get your knees under. You have the massive built-in refrigerator, freezer, the in-wall microwave and oven, stainless steel range and hood. I actually saw a home the other day, a nice home that had a range that had no hood, no downdraft, no nothing. You have your secretary's desk in the kitchen area there built in. You got that lovely dark shade of paint to offset the lighter gray. Definitely a little more of the modern color palette, while not beating you over the head with the whites, but definitely in that gray modern color palette that is all the rage. There's the mudroom that we were talking about coming in from the garage, where you can dump all your muddy shoes and coats and winter stuff when you come in. The guest bathroom, and then we move to the first bedroom. Lots of carpet in this house. You'll see it's got the big tiles on the floor, and as the counter marble, it has been a minute. I don't think I have a note on that. Don't know for sure if that's marble. It's probably not marble. You got the big soaking tub. You got the rain shower head in the shower with the full tile all the way up to the ceiling, and the bench seat there in the corner. This is one of those primary bathrooms that is nice, but it's not overly ostentatious by any means. Some of the bathrooms in some of these houses these days. Moving on to the second bedroom. Hey, your student can overlook their school. They might hate you for that. Nice large walk-in closet with the Jack and Jill bathroom there. That's a pretty popular setup these days, where you have shared bathrooms between 2 bedrooms. Moving on down to the laundry room with the wall mount sink. Got the sitting area up at the top of the stairs. I don't know anybody who actually sits up at the top of the stairs and reads or does anything. In so many ways, I think that's wasted space, but it's a pretty common thing. You've got a downstairs bedroom, and you can see it's got the escape window right here, and it's got the actual ladder. So many of these actually have like a stair, a ladder, if you will, like built into the stonework. This is literally a ladder sticking down there. They kind of got this one set up as a theater and a bedroom. That's an interesting juxtaposition. More downstairs set up as a mix of a gym and a sitting room with the carpet. You know, if you really wanted to make that a gym, you'd probably want to pull that carpet up. Mechanicals area. Nice back patio with a fire ring built in. This is a solid city lot. You know, not huge by any means as far as the lot size, but not tiny either. Going back to the front, that is, as I said, 1809 North Salisbury in West Lafayette. 5 bedrooms, 5 baths, 3,981 square feet. And when I say the lot is not too small, it's really not. It's a third of an acre. That's a pretty good sized city lot. Currently priced at $732,000. As I said, this one's well above the median being $385,500. So this one is, you know, this is definitely the high end in West Lafayette School Corporation, but it's in West Lafayette School Corporation. All right. And if you liked that house, or you want to see that house, or talk to me about any other house here in the Greater Lafayette area, go to the LafayetteReal.com/YouTube and send me some information about what you're ideally looking for, and let's work together. Because I'd love to be your Lafayette local real estate resource of choice. I think we'll do one more. I know we're going long. Thanks for hanging with us. This one's interesting, and I think is worth the time. I kind of can't believe I haven't done this one already, but that's okay. We'll do it now. All right, so we're going to look at 645 Pawnee Park in West Lafayette. This one is a 3-bedroom, 4-bath, which I think the way this is, it might actually be a 3.5 bath for 4 total bathrooms. We'll look at that. But this one, we've been talking a lot about homes that are in the West Lafayette School Corporation. This one definitely is, but this one is not so walkable to the West Lafayette schools, but it still has a great location. So here it is. So here is Pawnee Park. So this is kind of over on the east side of the creek of over here. So you can't kind of get through here quickly or easily. I mean, you can on trails, and you know, it's more of a hike. So you definitely, like, to get to school would have to like come up and over, and the intermediate school is right here, and then the junior senior high school is down here, and then zooming out one level, Purdue University is down here. So this is close. It gives you the feeling of being in nature, but it is not necessarily walkable to schools. But you know, there is a very limited supply of everything in this area that is. But man, its location just can't beat. And this is actually a really nice, interesting house. I like houses that aren't just cookie cutter. This one was built in 1981, so about 44 years old, and it sits on about 3/4 of an acre. So let's take a tour of. I'm going to take a tour of 645 Pawnee Park here in West Lafayette. 3 bedrooms, 4 baths on 3/4 of an acre, 3,339 square feet. And here we are. And this is a house that really like fits into its setting. You know, it's got some interesting architecture. It's got trees around it. It's not just your normal housing addition site. I like that. I like the stonework planters. I like the big lanterns. I think it gives the house a lot of character. I love the shaker style shingles, the big double doors. You got the stairway that leads down to the front door from street level. Really, you know, interesting architecture. And then when you move inside, we'll see there's it might feel a little bit dated in a good way and a bad way at the same time. Like, you know, it's elegant, but it's also like of a time. You know, you got the nice hardwood floors and the triple window on this large dining area. And the argument can be said, you know, like, what do you need this large dining area for? You don't have to use it as a dining area. The vaulted ceiling of the living room when you walk in through the double doors. You have the built-in, you have the fireplace, you have the indirect lighting up here. It is unique. Clearly very, very, very white in its color. You got the carpet and the paint. You know, if you wanted to make that something a little more modern, you have to do a little something to that. Pull out the carpet, put in some flooring, maybe paint the walls. But you know, certainly livable by any means. There's nothing wrong with it. And we move into the kitchen, and it's got that old standby oak. You know, this is built in 1981, and I think that these cabinets are probably original to 1981. They could use a little bit of updating. Again, completely usable, but you know, we have the wallpaper borders up top here, so you're definitely buying the architecture and the location, and you could put some sweat equity into it and a little bit of money, or pay somebody a lot of money and redo it and make it yourself. But I like the kitchen. I like the eat-in dining area adjacent to the kitchen, and I like the flow of the house. You can see where the refrigerator goes. You've got the Grover-style swinging door to go from the dining room to the kitchen here. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. Sesame Street, the restaurant. The mirrors over the sink are an interesting choice. I understand what they're doing there, if you're standing there washing dishes. There is no doubt this bathroom is of a time. No other way to put it. Moving on to the laundry room, utilitarian, functional. Moving on to, I believe this is the primary suite. Got the built-in in the corner, very, very large for its time. You got the makeup counters, dual basin sink with lots and lots of area to work. I mean, because look, you got the makeup counter over here on the left, and you have the dual basin sink. You of course have the chain lights. This is more of the thing of the 70s. This house was built in 81, so you know it was designed in 79 and 80, so it's of its time. You got that tub that the location that feels like that was changed. I mean, the tub is definitely newer, and you could get in one of the large soaking tubs. Moving on into the secondaries, lots and lots of carpet in this house, including in the bathrooms. If I were to move into this, the very first thing I would do is rip all the wallpaper out of the bathrooms, rip up the carpet, put in some new tile floors, paint the walls. I mean, that's a pretty quick win, and you can see that they have kind of done that to the downstairs here. I don't think that's the original flooring in this downstairs area. Lots and lots of windows lets in lots of natural light. I mean, it helps. Ooh, I love this one. I might not rip that wallpaper down, but you can see we're down in the basement. We have the drop ceiling here. I think this is fun. But that massive deck overlooking the ravine, look, even built around the trees. You got the barbecue on a post here. I think that's just absolutely lovely. Massive deck out there with the walk around so that you can get from the master suite out to the rest of the deck. If you got kids that want to go explore in nature, it just doesn't really get any better than that. So that is 645 Pawnee Park in West Lafayette, and it is in the West Lafayette School Corporation. It is on Happy Hollow, as far as the actual hollow itself. 3 bedrooms, 4 baths, 3,339 square feet on 3/4 of an acre, currently listed for $654,000. If this is a home that interests you, or any home here in West Lafayette, the West Lafayette School Corporation, or Greater Lafayette, go to the LafayetteReal.com/YouTube, fill out the form, and let me know how we can work together to help you find your perfect home, whether it is 645 Pawnee Park, whether it's 1611 North Grant Street, whether it's 1809 North Salisbury, or one of the other 260-ish homes that are currently for sale here in Tippecanoe County. But with that, we're going to wrap it up for tonight. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us through the end, for joining us every Monday here on At Lafayette Live. Thank you for hitting the like and subscribe button and getting all of the videos that we put out on the Lafayette Reel. We have videos that go out almost every day, so we want to make sure you stay up to date with that. But we will not be here next week, going camping with Cub Scouts and our boys next week. So we will take the week off, but we will see you back here the first week of August. Enjoy the rest of your July, and we'll see you soon.